What's going on, guys? This is us going over the Drieghan Patch. It's me right here, and then Zix as well.
What's up?
And he's always good at theory crafting with me and everything, and we try our best to go over new content and whatnot. And so we're going to be going over the KR stuff, and it's going to be kind of a long video. It's going to have a lot of information, but it's extremely important, and I think it's going to really shine a light on the new content and give you guys a head start on what to expect in the coming months when we eventually get Drieghan. So
To prep too. It's a lot of prepping.
yeah, to prep a lot of things as well. So as soon as the event happens, you're ready to get a lot of the new stuff about to come out. So sit tight. I hope you guys enjoy it, and thanks a lot for watching. Aside from the event items, we do know that some of the new mobs are going to be having Marnie stones, so that's good. A lot more XP that way. And then the new fossil, or the new item fossil of a dragon scale has been added. So apparently obtainable anywhere. So is that from gathering, or is it from...
It's mobs, I'm pretty sure. Mob drops.
Okay, so mob drops, and you can exchange 30 fossils for 20 plus Valk's advice from an NPC in Calpheon. So a free 20 fail stacks, which is pretty fucking awesome, actually. That's huge. And then the biggest thing is, or not the biggest, but a huge thing is the new craftable awakening weapon, which is Ugal, and then the Dragon Slayer weapons yellow have been added, which basically is what is the blue? Is it the blue is basically just a worse version of the Dragon Slayer?
So the blue is identical to the blue awakening weapons we have right now in the awakening boxes. I'm pretty positive on that one too.
Okay.
Something like that, but it requires that item to make the Dragon Slayer item.
I see. Okay, so you do need to make that one in order to make the Dragon Slayer. So explaining how, and the reason why that the weapon is so important is because it's basically a dandelion. How exactly does it differ from a dandelion, Zix?
It is 2 AP less on the bottom half. The top half, which the 123, is the same as the dandelion, but the 112 is 2 less from the 114 the dandelion has.
So it's only 2 AP less, and that's it.
Yeah. So it's
awesome.
Quite negligible in any sense.
All right, and the human damage the same as well as the dandelion?
Yeah, they're both 5. Both
Great.
plus 5.
So talking about how to make it, which is a new item, there's a Remain of Black Energy, which was added to Black Desert. The remains you have obtained from grinding can be taken to the weapon workbench in the new capital city there, to be crafted into refined remains of black energy. So basically while you're grinding, you're going to be getting these remains of black energy, and then it can be crafted into refined black energy. Kind of like a concentrated blackstone and blackstones in a sense.
The biggest thing is that this remains is obtainable throughout the world. All mobs will now drop the remains. So
all
you
mobs
can just,
will?
Yeah, all mobs. So you can just grind from level 0 to 50 and just get some during the way, and then eventually save up for it. They did the math here already, down at the bottom for the amount that you need to make a full weapon. I read a thing a little bit ago about it, that apparently the drops are actually pretty decent. They roughly get around 4 to 5 every 10 minutes from just a specific area in Drieghan. So it's unconfirmed that Drieghan gives more, but they believe so. So,
okay.
Pretty good. 4 to 5 is pretty decent.
So that's not bad. So it seems like a pretty reasonable thing to get, and kind of quickly too if you grind often.
The other thing is that the way to make the weapon is that you need 20 Dragon Slayer Awakening weapon blueprints, and you get those from doing a daily quest somewhere along the way. It's very similar to the way you make the boat, not the fishing boat.
The frigate or whatever?
The frigate, yeah. You need blueprints. So I'm guessing at minimum 20 days to make the weapon. Okay. So if you just grind your ass out and get lucky to get approximately 6,875, you're golden for a dandy.
Yeah, seems like on a level 60 DK with 210 AP, using the item collection increase scroll. Oh, well, that's kind of, I don't know why they did that. But they're able to get about 4 to 5 remains of black energy from 10 minutes of grinding. So maybe cut that in half. So for not using the item collection scroll, so about 2 to 3 remains of black energy every 10 minutes. So going back to the KR patch notes then. But if you don't have a dandelion, then this is definitely the way you should go ASAP. Should be one of the first things you do with the new content, in my opinion. There's a new blue armor set. It's similar to Lemuria. I mean, is there really anything like important to cover over it at all in terms of?
We quickly about it is that you can obtain it from Drieghan mobs like Lemuria, of course. But instead of the 5 set piece with Liberto from Lemuria, it's a 5 set piece with any blue awakening. It's overall slightly better than Lemuria, just slightly, because it has 2 slots actually instead of 1.
Oh, it has 2 crystal slots in it?
Yeah.
Okay.
But you have to upgrade it though. It's like a heavy, or it's like any other green piece where you have to use a reform stone to make it into gold. It's like that, but overall it's an alternate Lemuria set.
So it's basically just it's trying to bridge the gap between the Lemuria set and Boss Gear a little bit more. I mean, because it's slightly better than Liberto or Lemuria, and still worse than Boss Gear.
So basically, you can see the pictures on the bottom. But you can they say that it's not worth it just because the cost to ratio of the value is not worth it, like Lemuria, because you need to pay roughly some mil just to repair the durability of the armor set.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
They're kind of treating it like Boss Gear is almost impossible to get, and I do realize it's hard, but it's not like something that's never going to happen. So you don't necessarily need to bank on these halfway armors.
Not efficient.
Right. So the new type of magic crystals, or set magic crystals, have been added. Have been added to all sockets and will have set bonuses with 2 pieces and when 4 pieces are equipped. So basically you can now, there's like armor sets have perks, crystal slots can have perks.
So what this was is that they are practically universal crystals for all your slots.
I see.
Every single one. So it can apply, you can have a full 12 crystals of these if you want, but it only goes up to 4 in effect.
I see.
The value on it, I believe, is not very good, because the amount you get from it for 4 sets, you have to replace 4 crystals. The only thing that I can think of for it being value is the 2 set piece, which is good on just boots, because for gloves you should really just get double gins, 20/20 accuracy. That's just so good. For chest piece, special evasion is really good, especially with the Gamos thing later on.
Exactly.
Or gins, get the 150 health. That's crazy. So 300 total. The helmet, just evasion.
Yeah,
most players just use evasion.
The 20 evasion.
Yeah, and then offhand, of course, awakened crystals are critical +1. The damage is insane, and main hand could be AP or precision +8, 10. Overall, like this sets this thing, it's not very good. The stats you get from it is pretty minimal. Like two crystals giving you like 150 health. You can get that from 1 crystal. And it's a little bad. I can see why they added this, just because it's like a bridge to Jin crystals, just like the crutch on the Akum armor.
True.
So the one thing that I heard is that you can get these from quests, so that's a pretty big deal too. You don't have to really go heavy on them.
Okay. So they're quick to achieve and whatnot.
Just the first one. The second one, which I found a little outrageous, is the Awaken set crystals, where you have to basically sacrifice a Jin Bond wand of any type to create this. And the stats are even more minuscule on the second table right there.
Yeah, I see that. All accuracy +2, and then
So
you're sacrificing what, 38 accuracy for 2 accuracy?
Something like that.
Or you're sacrificing 1 Jin, so 20 accuracy for 2 accuracy. And then +1 resistance, and then all HP +30. So new accessories have been added. The Ring of Gakum's Obedience, AP +5, accuracy +2. Additional AP against monsters +1, AP accuracy +2, and then AP against monsters +1 upon enchant.
This is basically a better version of Marks.
Because it gives that monster damage, and that's about it.
Yeah.
And then it seems more expensive than Marks of Shadow 2, though.
Yeah, it is. It's
Twice as
I
expensive,
think,
essentially.
yeah, roughly like that. But it is a new item, so the price you get less
True.
lowered. Overall, the monsters to kill there is harder than going to, what was it? Place to get Marcus Shadows? I can't remember.
Abandoned Monastery.
Yeah, that place is literally abandoned.
Yeah, it's really, really easy just to fly through that and get a few marks really quick, to be honest. So, Pupil of the Ruin Ring, AP +5, accuracy +2, item enchantment effects, AP accuracy +3, and then max HP +25. And then
This is the crazy one.
Yeah, this is doesn't have a picture of it on here, but this is essentially the Pupil of the Rune Ring is essentially crescents, but you get on enchantment you get max max HP +25. So if you get a Pupil ring, then it's 75 HP.
You get 2, it's 150.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And 150 HP is not a joke. It's actually a lot, especially for just having a free, for having an AP ring on. You just get the free HP. Then we have Oakencard's Belt, AP 7, actually 2, 80 LT weight limit, which I believe is the same as Basilisk. And then the AP and accuracy +2 on enchantment, and then DP +1, and then max HP +25. I don't know how expensive this is in the KR version. What do you think about the belt, Zix?
So the belt you obtain from the 230 plus AP area. So it's very similar to Gaifen grinding.
I see.
The belt, in essence, is just a hybrid belt. They've been really pushing the hybrid system on this, just like the Narc earring.
Yeah.
Overall, this is a pretty good belt. I think it's slightly better than the Bassi belt at Try. It starts to descale later on just because that's +2 AP, but getting Pen is kind of inconceivable, maybe Tet, but overall it's a nice belt that has, I believe, only 1 AP less than a Try Bassi belt, but you get a bunch of AP or DP and nice max HP. Although the only thing that it falters on is that it's the Volterra belt, if anybody knows what that is already in the game, and you get it from the Volterra altar defense mission, or the I believe the centaur, the tree centaurs down under. And the Volterra belt is practically the same as a Bassi belt, but it gives health on upgrade.
Okay, so here is the Volterra Eclipse belt. So go ahead and look up the marketplace and look at it there. So moving down the list, new crystal.
These are actually different. These
I
are
see, you're right.
These are new. They're they're just an enhanced version of the already existing reduction crystals and the Valor crystal.
I see.
I believe the Valor crystal is very nice though.
Yeah, that's a critical chance +2 and then AP +5. So that's probably going to be close to 20 mil or so, I'm guessing. Magical Manos Hoe has been added. So the Magical Manos Hoe is required when gathering a newly added item, the Lucky Hero.
So this is like the Monos processing we're going to do in a sec.
Oh,
But
gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
This requires quite a lot of mats to make, and this is going to be used to harvest this Lakiaro gathering route that will explain a little bit. Overall, we believe that this is going to be a reusable, repairable hoe that has probably the highest success rate, just because you have to, but you can't upgrade it all the way to Pen, which is a pretty interesting thing. This is also one of the few orange grade revealing stuff.
New Meals and Elixirs have been added. All of them are pretty much PvE or life skill or knowledge oriented. The elixir, the Shining Elixir of Helix, which is all evasion +12 for the enhanced one, and then all evasion +8. I mean, obviously I like that because evasion, but there's not an evasion elixir yet in the game.
No, this is the first.
Right, for NA. So That's a pretty big deal, considering the housing buff, and then, Muskin's having evasion, and then Valencia, and then this elixir now as well, not to mention the evasion gems, and then also new gloves that we'll talk about. So they're pushing evasion, trying to bring evasion back as well, which is interesting, and we'll see how
Build
that
diversity.
goes.
Quite
Right.
good.
Yeah, they're trying to be a lot more diverse in general, which is a welcome change for me. Everything else is basically all PvE oriented with knowledge and weight gain and whatnot.
I think the Cron Meal of Vitality is quite an interesting item because it is the first meal to have plus 5% down attack. It's actually a combination of multiple meals. You can get the plus 5 down attack, 5% down attack, which is a thick Hormic meal on the top there.
Yes.
But overall, yeah, this is a huge combination of meals. I'm guessing it's probably going to be like the first 1 mil or 2 mil meal. But overall, it's quite good because it's plus 2 crit. It's already better than Margoria. It has 100 weight, which Margoria only has 50. 5% down attack. Honestly, it's probably one of the best meals that you can have. I'm guessing it's going to be just expensive though, just because it requires 3 times of Serendia, Medea, and the new Drieghan special meal, and an ancient Cron spice, which I think is already in the game, but I don't know how you obtain it.
Okay. So look for that. Life Skillers are probably going to be trying to pump that out because it's going to be expensive as fuck. And the attack and casting speed is plus 2, which is actually kind of a big deal too, because if you run this along with the critical hit level, that kind of frees up some gem slots for you also. The really big thing is the required CP experience when your CP is below 500 has decreased. So this is huge, and they might put this in NA at any time. I know that's going together with their Drieghan Patch, but they've added stuff early to us when they correct things like this anyway. So if I were you, I would hold on to like poorly paired ingredients, or like what's the alchemy equivalent? Something the purple little elixir that you get.
Weakened reagent.
So the weakened reagent, anything that gives you CP experience that you can trade in and hold on to, keep it. Just keep it. Take the hit. Maybe do some Calpheon dailies instead if you still need more CP. But I strongly suggest holding on to all those things until we get this CP change, because we're looking at a lot of less work for you, and it could be a huge difference. Has anybody said anything?
Yeah. So it's calculated to be someone in Korea was at 350 base, and they turned in, and they roughly got 30% increase. So in terms of scaling, for anybody less than 300, it's probably 40% increase, which is quite substantial.
There are hot springs.
RP.
And you get a special buff when you enter the hot springs?
Actually didn't read this.
So apparently there's an indoor hot springs and an outdoor hot springs, and you can get a special buff when you enter the hot springs. Maximum of 5 people can enter the indoor hot spring, and a maximum of 10 people can enter the outdoor hot spring. I'm unsure what the buff is. If I had to randomly guess, I think it would probably be something similar to the horse's buff Roar that gives you maybe just better HP recovery and WP recovery for a certain amount of time, if we want to be really like generic with it. But other than that, I'm unsure what the buff is or what it could be. If we find out, I'll add it in at the end of the video if that interests you. So look at the end of the video, and I should, if I found out, then I'll put it there. Let's see here. New system. Oh yeah.
Big so over here.
Right. So the new system where you could process more items at one time. Do you want to go ahead and take on that?
Yeah. So this is a little bit of theory crafting we had to do because of the way they worded it, but this is their take on making processing much more efficiently for the players. This is the other orange grade item that I was talking about that can upgrade all the way to pen, just like the hoe.
Okay.
And what this does is that it lets you process multiple materials at the same time, or a single material multiple times is what we believed it to be. At base plus 0, it is 10. At maximum pen, it is 35. And that basically boosts your processing by quite a lot. Any processors like Layvan is gonna love this. Anybody like traders is gonna love this because no one wants to do logs at all. That shit's heavy.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, this is a very good item to have. You need to make one for each, depending on which one, shaking, grinding, chopping, etc. The items cost for this is quite hefty. It requires 5 monos, which is 5 mil each, so 25 min right there, and 50 magical shards. And the magical shards are the items you gain from, I believe, heating black magic crystals.
Yep.
Those are the items that you also use to make gins, and of course, but you need 50 of these, so you can see why it's quite a hefty and annoying thing. Because right now we can't even get some trying to make our gin crystals.
Yeah, exactly. People are just scraping those off the market instantly and grinding in areas where those black magic crystals drop. Even though, I mean, it's unbeneficial to grind there even. So
you need to do this for each of the stones too, or each of the types.
Right.
So if you want all of them, you're going to be needing 6 times 50, 300. It's a lot.
It's expensive.
So we believe this to be a repairable item. As the moment, it just says repaired. We're not sure what we can use to repair it. It could be like the alchemy stone where you use a specific item, or it could be like our armors where we just go to the repair guy, just repair it. Overall, the way to repair the max durability is memfrags or the identical item, but you're gonna be spending a fortune if you want to do that.
Right. So memfrags are the way to go to repair these things. So it's going to be even more competition with memory frags on the market now that more things are needing to get taken. So hopefully we see either more events or more scrolls, something of the sort. New gathering item, which is what we... Oh, and also the gathering minigame, but we already kind of touched on the gathering item.
Yeah. This is actually kind of interesting. So this is the new route, I guess you'd call it. And this is spawns random spots all over Drieghan. And this is like a lottery system. Not really a lottery system. This is more like finding gold. Because the way to harvest this is to use the Monos hoe. And you play this mini game, and it's kind of like Minesweeper from what I was told. And if you damage the root at all, it starts to degrade in value. And if somehow you manage to get a perfect, untouched, undamaged root, you get 100 million silver.
Jeez.
Right there.
So you uncover the grass and hope to God you don't hit a root.
The biggest thing is the Monos hoe. People have to make that first.
Exactly.
To do. So everything just kind of takes a little bit of time. It's only been a week.
All right, and it looks like there's a tutorial for gathering it, so maybe you can practice the minigame, I'm guessing. And then you cannot be attacked during the minigame, so that's nice. So once you find it, it's yours. You can't get thrown out of it, so you can take your time with it. Is all mobs will drop remains of black energy, which is for the new awakening weapon. That's 2 less AP than a dandy.
The new Drieghan arrow will have a minimum tier 4 all around, so horse tamers galore. You can just on tier 4s there.
And a chance for them to be tier 5 as well. So they're at least a tier 4 and chance to have tier 5 as well, which is Liliver, the new gloves. So its basic evasion is very high, and you can get the set effect by wearing Liver's gloves with any other boss items, just like Beg's gloves. So it's essentially just like when the Griffin's helmet got released in her guns. It has 25 less accuracy than Beg's, so you're losing out on accuracy. However, it has more damage reduction and evasion than Beg's does. Liver's gloves may have high evasion DP based efficiency, but many players seem to question its actual efficiency. The current trend of gear sets in KR have been having high accuracy, but equipping this would give you 25 less of it. Many players say it's hard to find any benefit in giving up accuracy for evasion, unless it was damage reduction you had to give up instead. Since everyone is going for high accuracy, it has become hard to depend on having good DP based on evasion. So, in NA side, and in my opinion, these gloves are extremely solid for my DP set because I'm an evasion based class for the most part, and we have evasion buffs. I also think if you have gins and if you're able to throw gins into it, spend a little bit of money, take your gins out of bags and put them both inside of the new gloves. If you're like a striker and if you have ergons, having a solid source of both DR and evasion is really nice. Evasion does stack upon itself the more you have. So the more evasion you have, the more effective it becomes. So for those of you who are stacking evasion, which should be like maybe all three of us.
All three of us.
It's very, 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 very beneficial, and it's going to do well, I think, in NA, because right now in NA, a lot of people still and always will, in my opinion, go AP monkey, especially with DR becoming a thing as well in NA. Everybody falling in love with ergons. People are starting to just go AP to get rid of the efficiency of ergons and say, fuck it, I'm just going to RNG fighting on somebody who has evasion. So I can see these doing well in NA, in my opinion, if you know how to use them at least, or if you're confident in what you're doing with them, and you have the gin or the accuracy to throw inside of them, or just enough accuracy to make up for having such a lack thereof. If you have low accuracy already and you decide to go these, you're gonna be absolutely useless if you're using like a Novair or not making up for it in any other way.
The suggested minimum for majority of classes, variations because of accuracy rates, is 350. So if you can attain 350, you should be solid on a fair amount of classes. You still miss a few times, but 350 is a recommended minimum.
Right.
Bare minimum, nothing less. You will absolutely feel like you're hitting nothing if you go lower, especially classes that require like ninja, sork, etc.
Exactly. And in those classes, like in my personal opinion, a ninja should have no less than 385 to 390 accuracy to be able to consistently hit, just because we have absolutely no base accuracy on our skills, and if we do, it's extremely low. But classes like warrior, striker, witch and wizard, they don't need that 350 minimum is a lot more safe and can ride on that. There has also been a new offhand, kind of a new thing to do with offhands implemented as well. Zix, if you want to take it away.
Okay, so with the new Drieghan map, there's a new world boss called Gamos. It's so far going to be the most powerful world boss, so get your britches ready. But the boss drops this new item called the Reform.
The Heart of Gamos, I thought.
Yeah, sorry, the Heart of Gamos. And what it is that you can put it together with either your Nova or Kudum offhand, and it gives it additional stats in terms of 150 health, 100 plus stamina, and 10% special evasion. This is a pretty big deal just because we've been arguing over which offhand to use, green or accuracy green or Kun or Nova. Now this is a quite substantial buff for the boss offhands, which will probably make them the top two end game items you'd want, regardless of green.
Right, it's gonna essentially kill off green offhands for the most part. Especially like a good argument for ninjas has always been, you should still use Astique because it has that +1 critical damage instead of Novair or whatever. And there's been arguments, but this by far absolutely cuts it out of the water and makes it absolutely necessary to have Novair and Kudum. Baby can be your new companion in your adventure, apparently.
Oh yeah, that.
Is that a free pet?
So it's a drop pet actually. So you can get a dropped pet from the dragon boss.
Wow.
Get a little baby dragon with you.
That's actually awesome. Any word on how rare it is? Or I know it's brand new, but
it's probably pretty rare. Let's be honest here.
Good point. If it's something that can be purchased with pearls, then they don't want you to have it for free in game. So it's probably one of the most rare items in the game. So TLDR, you basically can smash his heart into your offhand, and it makes it a lot better. Either Novair or Kudum. And I will leave a link in the description of the few videos there are of the area, in case you have not seen them yet. I'm sure you have, but just in case, there's going to be trailers where you can look at the new zone. It's actually really pretty. I'm excited to go explore it. All right, so those of you who don't know, just in case, Something Lovely, and absolutely one of the best Black Desert sites that have came out since the game has been launched and alive, and continues to hold its place very strongly and always will, in my opinion. The developers are extremely kind from what I've seen as well, and a pretty cool person. He's active in Reddit a lot as well. But the biggest thing with the new zone, here is the new Drieghan area. It is south of Calpheon, as you can see, and east of Kama. There's 4 ways, or 3 ways, like main trading locations that branch into it. There are 4 trading locations that branch into it. And the biggest thing why I'm showing you this map is the Mithril Locations on a node.
So Mithril is a Valencian ore,
Right.
and the only way to get it at the moment
is to mine it yourself
mining.
and find it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And what Mithril is for traders wise is the most expensive trading item that you can exchange for money. It is worth per unit 190,000 compared to a steel crate, which is only 30,000, 6 times the amount. And there's approximately 2 nodes for that calc cannon. Yeah, it's 2 nodes. And I'm guessing since it's a secondary rare item, it's probably the rate of, let's say, platinum in abandoned iron mine for zinc ore. So it's a very good item for traders to get, or a node to get, just for passively gaining it, and then just all in one go get a shit ton of money from this Mithril crates.
All right, so all in all, there's actually a lot of really big changes into the fucking. I cannot concentrate. All in all, there's a lot of really big changes coming into the KR scene, and us having an early jump on this is what will grant us the ability to make money on certain things, and also just be aware and get a head start when it does happen. So hope you guys enjoyed. A big shout out and thank you very much to Zix. You can find him in my Discord, and pay homage to him. Really appreciate his knowledge and everything.
Feel free to ask me anything. I help out in the Striker Discord all the time if you're a Striker fan or just general knowledge. Pretty good at all of it.
Yeah, sorry,
Except for life scaling.
you're like a teacher in the Striker Discord, right? Or something?
Yeah.
Yes. Cool. Well, yeah, guys, thanks a lot for watching. I know it's going to be a long video. I know it is. And there's going to be a lot of knowledge, but it's us doing the best we can with limited knowledge on our side as well. So appreciate you watching. Hope you learned something, and get ready for the new content. It's going to drop, I don't know, what you think, 5 months?
Probably. Yeah. After lawn, it'll probably be another month or 2.
Yeah, so I can see in about 4 to 5 months, I'm guessing.
Yeah, end of summer.
So, alright guys, see you next time. Alright guys, so luckily more information did come out on the gathering with the plant and the minigame. Waited to put the video out to see if it did, and luckily Zix let me know, right when more information did get put out. So I can't imagine any more information getting put out that we would need to cover, other than just specifics on maybe the dragon hatchling you can get from the world boss. Now, talking about the plants, this is what they're going to look like from above. They're relatively easy to spot, and like we stated, they can be gathered by either a quest item that is not reusable, and it's a hoe, and it has low durability, or the Manos hoe that you make. Now, here's a second look at the plants here, as you guys can see. And let's talk more specifically on how the minigame works, and also the tier system. So before we dive into how the minigame works, I do want to talk about the tier system, because it's a little bit more easy to understand than this minigame, especially with the translations needed. But by successfully completing the minigame, you get a bag as a reward, and the bag has 10 levels. It has primal, mature, rare, thick, high quality, blunt, thin, small, weak, and young. Now, a primal plant will give you a primal to blunt bag as a reward. So the primal plant will give a primal, mature, rare, thick, high quality to blunt reward based off of how you do. And a young plant, as you can see here, will give a high quality to young plant bag as a reward. High quality, blunt, thin, small, weak, and young, as you can see here. All right. So
It's like a bracket system.
exactly like a bracket system. And here are the rewards given. Basically, just what I want to cover is a primal is worth 100 million silver, and then it just goes down from there. Okay. So talking about how the mini game works, as you can see here, you can do. There's a right clicking and there's left clicking. Left clicking reveals a cluster of an area, and it has the potential of damaging a root and hitting a rock. Now right clicking does not damage a root, but you only have a limited amount of right clicking, and right clicking only reveals one square when you right click it. And when you click on a rock, you lose durability on your gathering tool. Now looking up here, it says what I just said about right clicking and left clicking. Also, if you click on a tile and there's a rock, you lose durability, like I said. There's a low chance that the location of roots or rocks will be shown while you left click. Now I know that sounds kind of confusing, but that's all the translation we have. And the probability will increase as gathering level goes up. So the higher your gathering level is, the higher the chance that you'll reveal a root or rock when you left click, which is good. Right clicking will not damage roots, but it will not remove the rocks or soil on the tile. But will not. Yeah. Okay. Actually, I don't know what the fuck that's saying.
I'm not sure what that is there. There's nothing that says about removing rocks or soil. I'm assuming the way that works is that the left clicking removes rocks and soil, because removing soil is how the minigame works. You remove the green plots and you remove the rocks as well, I'm assuming. But that's all we can get from the translation like that.
Alright, so while you're going through the minigame, if you're on the most rare plant or the primal plant, you will have to successfully finish a total of 5 stages to gather the best reward. The tile will be refreshed every time 20% of the root has been damaged, forcing you to start from the beginning again. A young plant only has 1 stage, and the tile won't be refreshed. Yeah, it's very, very punishing. But that's about it. That's all the information that we've gathered on the gathering with the limited and awful translations that we have. But we work with what we got, right? So,
Yeah.
like I said, go ahead.
With the rewards on the money, like the 100 mil and the 700k based on what plant and bracket, you can also get hearts and sharps, traces, sealed fairy items, layer petals, and Lacryaro energy. The last 3 right there, we don't really know what's for, but hearts and sharps seems like it's a pretty good thing. I'm assuming it's a pretty decent chance. There's also some tips and tricks on the way people have done it. Is that to basically harvest the plant as best as you can, but if you can't, you kind of want to just do it really quickly, because even if you were to fail, like a primal plant, you can still get the 1.5 mil. It seems like they are talking about this like there's abundance of it, because the way they're assuming people are gonna do is just fail and quickly move on. So what it may be is that the primal plants are a decent amount to spawn, but the reward, the 100 mil reward, seems for expert players that have probably no or luck out on the 100 mil.